Welcome back to the Book Review TV, where we spotlight powerful voices, inspiring stories, and the books making an impact around the world. Today, we're joined by an incredible entrepreneur, branding expert, speaker, and powerhouse creator known as the Badass Bamboo, Samara Beth. Her book, When Your Brand, The Unapologetic Playbook for Becoming Iconic, is more than a branding guide. It's a deeply personal guide about resilience, reinvention, and learning how to turn your story, even the painful parts, into purpose, impact, and legacy. Through her WIN framework and her inspiring badass bamboo theory, Samara Beth shares how entrepreneurs, creators, speakers, and business owners can stop shrinking themselves and start building brands people truly remember. Samara, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I love doing this with you.
Samara, let's talk a little bit about your book and tell us what inspired you to write Win Your Brand and what does winning your brand truly mean to you?
So, first of all, it's kind of funny because I'm in 7 anthology collaborative author books and international bestseller in those. And I really thought it was funny that I had clients that I was making best-selling authors and getting them published and all the things they needed, but I hadn't done my own book yet, my own solo book. And so I was like, well, that's ridiculous. I need to get that done. And so I had written a first draft and I threw the whole thing away. I thought it was horrible. And then I started over. And so someone actually who I knew had passed away, and I was like, that's it. I'm taking this whole weekend. Don't let me leave the couch until this book is written. And that's how it did. It literally did take me a weekend to write the book. Now, granted, there were a lot of back and forth editing, but I was at the point that that book had to get done. And I wanted something that could be used as a tool for my business, but have some memoir stories in it so that people could connect with me and understand the bamboo aspect of things and not just see it as just a business book, and see how they can integrate their personal life stories into a book and into their business and help others that way.
Yeah, you share very personal experiences throughout the book. You share about grief, about divorce, motherhood, rebuilding yourself, and raising a son with autism. Was it difficult to write about these personal areas of your life? I know they were important because, how you say you blend the memoir elements into just the original version of the book about business and strategy. And how was it? How was this writing process for you?
So it was actually interesting because I didn't really realize why Coach Ron Tunick nicknamed me Lil Bamboo. It was during the pandemic and I was going through a divorce and I was going through a lot of financial challenges. And when he nicknamed me that, and I talk about him in the book, I was like, it's just weird. It doesn't really stick. I'm a plant. Like, what am I? What is that? And so I started writing the book, and then that's when the little bamboo really kicked in. I was like, wow, I didn't realize how much I'd gone through in my life, to be honest, until I started writing the chapters and writing the stories and realizing that I'd been through way more than I thought. I'm so used to my life being complicated and pretty dramatic that it was always that way in my 50 years of life. And so I didn't really think of it as being unique until I realized my life is not normal. Like moving to 31 homes in 13 states and 2 countries, and the situations I went through with my children and with my marriage and my divorce and being married to the Navy, none of those things were actually a normal thing for most people. So that's when I realized that it was time for the bamboo theory to really kick in.
Can you explain a little bit about what the bamboo theory stands for and why bamboo became such a powerful symbol in your message?
So, of course, I was nicknamed Lil Bamboo by somebody else, and it stuck. People actually started calling me Lil Bamboo or LBB. You see it on LinkedIn, it's hilarious. And it's interesting about bamboo. I did a lot of research on it afterwards because I'm like, why is he calling me bamboo? Now I get it. So, here's something I learned about bamboo. So, first of all, for the first year, absolutely nothing you can see above ground once you plant the seeds of bamboo, right? The
Mhm.
second year, nothing. The third, fourth, fifth year, nada. Nothing can be seen above ground. But then the sixth year, the bamboo shoots up 90 feet in 6 weeks. And
Yeah.
I'm only 5 feet tall, so I do strive to be a little bit taller than that, not 90 feet, but so it's kind of when you're looking at a business. So what looks like this overnight success of this beautiful tall bamboo, you're actually cultivating underground. You're growing deep roots underground. And I learned a lot about the roots too. The roots, and I have a bamboo forest literally between my office and my kitchen on
Mhm.
the island. I have bamboos everywhere. And then I have some pictures of it. And so I learned that when you look at the bamboo, there's all these roots in there and they're thin, but
Mhm.
they all work together. They don't just stay underneath each stalk. They literally come together like a community, a network. So bamboo is incredibly resilient too. So it it lives through storms. It is the strongest plant. It is unbelievable how bamboo can be strong. You can't just break it with your hands. It's very hard to break. So even when I go out of town or something happens and I don't water it or something happens, I can cut the dead parts off and then it comes back to life, which by the way, I'm terrible with plants. I literally kill plants for a living. So the fact that I can keep my bamboo going, bamboo and orchids,
Yeah,
those are my two.
it keeps
So that's
healthy.
why I use bamboo throughout. And the bamboo theory is because you need to have that resilience and you need to build and keep building quietly. And then once you're at the right place, that's when you can shoot up. And that's what I did with the book, with radio and TV and interviews and my websites and all the things in my business. Once I was done with the book, which is my business tool, part life memoir, but really more for a business tool, that's when I was ready to go on more bigger stages and to be on ABC 13 Las Vegas and to go to other radio stations and TV stations. So that was kind of the part that was a transition for me.
So you talk about transforming resilience into revenue, and right now you just explained the whole bamboo theory, which is absolutely just so assertive. How can entrepreneurs begin doing that authentically without feeling like they're selling their pain?
Ah, wow, good question. Well, first of all, you have to be out of it to write about it and to be speaking about it. So when I was in the middle of my divorce, or when I was in the middle of, losing my dad who passed away, and then 2 years later, my mom who passed away, that's not the right time to get on stage and talk about it because you start bawling. And I was practicing speeches, and I'm like, I can't do this. I'm hysterical crying every time. Like, that's not the right time. You have to get outside of it. You have to win. And win stands for willpower to keep going when life feels impossible, innovation to think creatively and outside the box. And I've been an event planner for 30 years. So innovation is my thing. It's my jam as a creative. And N is networking to build powerful communities. And I'm a huge networker and build villages wherever I go. And you have to kind of take those steps. So the win pillars, those 3 pillars, is for every industry, every company, every human being. Everyone needs those 3 things to keep going and to go strong, right? With their businesses or their personal life. And so when you're ready and you're outside of certain stages of your life, that's when you're ready to share those stages about your life. You're not in therapy with your book and your audience. You need to be out of therapy before you write your book. And it's good to write a journal and you can write a book and all the things that while you're still in that process of processing everything. But one thing that people used to say to me when I lost my son Cameron in 2009 is God only gives us what we can handle. I want to smack every person who said that to me. I just buried my son. Can you please not say that to me? Thank you.
Yeah.
And that's the reality is that and then my daughter was born a year later, exactly. So, like, until you get through and get out of these terms, I couldn't even talk about my son without hysterical crying and having anxiety and depression. And now I can, but it took 10 years. It takes time. So businesses need to be able to do what Bamboo does. They need to be able to quietly build and do their business plans and their collaborations and educate themselves and build their brands strategically, which we do, and then build their websites strategically, which we do, and their videos and their social medias and their omnipresence, which we do all the omnipresence. The books are part of that. But once you have everything stable and built, like when you're building a house, you've got concrete. When it's bamboo, it's the roots and all the years before. You have to build that up before you can go, pow, I'm out here. Here's what I do. This is what I want to do for you, and blah, 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 blah. So, and one example I want to say, or suggestion I should say, is I use myself as a case study. So with my creative partners and vendors, I have them work with me before I have them work with my clients. And I learned that the hard way. The one time I don't do that, things went wrong. So, trust has to be built with your partners. So that kind of is part of the resilience of owning a business.
No, definitely. And no, definitely. You also talk about building your personal brand. And what do you think are the major mistakes that people are making nowadays trying to build a personal brand? Because I think that anybody that's out there that's trying to get themselves out there are trying to build their personal brand, especially now with social media and just, AI and everything. They're trying to build their personal brand, and you're competing with so many people doing the same thing. So what is the one major mistakes people are making, and how can what's one tool that they could implement into their life, into their strategy to try to make themselves more noticeable in a pool of other people?
Yes, that's an excellent question. And one of the things that I want to note, and this is why I did this, so I have examples for people to look at, is I have a personal brand and a personal brand website with a separate trailer video. And then I have a business brand with a business website and a business trailer video and business services. They should be separate because your personal brand is me as, in my example, because everyone's different, me as a coach, as an author, as a speaker. So that's going to stay with me for the rest of my life. My business brand, even though I can speak about branding and events and things like that on stage as a speaker, my business brand is how we help businesses grow and become present, and across all platforms. So that's where the branding, the events, the public relations, the marketing, the social media, all the done for you services we do, that's on my business brand side. I have two very distinctly different websites, and then the events website is actually tied to the business one. And so you want to separate the two because, and I am a 10X certified business coach licensee, so this is the 10X coaching side of me, is you grow and you scale and you exit your business, which is hopefully mean you're not just shutting the doors, you're selling your business. So you can sell that business, you can sell the LLC or the corporation, you can sell the website, you can sell your list, you can sell all those things. But your business brand stays with you forever. So that's your legacy. Yes, your business can be your legacy and you can pass it down to generations, but who you are as a person, your philanthropic endeavors and all those things, the legacy that you're building is really more on that personal brand side. There can be some, there are a lot of businesses that do a lot of volunteering and they're part of United Way and they build playgrounds and they do all these things. Yes, you can still do all of that. But I try to separate the two because I can grow and scale and sell Samara Beth and Company, but no one's going to want to buy Samara Beth. I mean, unless someone wants to marry me or whatever. I don't know. But other than that, I mean, it's you. It's who you are as a person and what people will remember you by. Does that make sense? I know it's a fine line.
No, 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 but it does. It makes total sense. And
Yeah.
well, you as a woman in this industry, what is an advice you would give to women entrepreneurs who feel underestimated or afraid to take up space in the industry?
Yes, and I mean that's very common, especially if they've been in abusive or narcissistic relationships, whether it's parents or siblings or spouses or boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. So that is a very common thing. And then women are up and rising now in society. I mean, we weren't even able to vote till much long ago. So we're able to do so many more things than we were supposed to. And I love that I'm surrounded by such amazing powerhouse women and men that love to provide space for female entrepreneurs. So, for example, I'm casting right now, and I'm also an actor of myself in a documentary film called Rise of the Lioness, which is women who transform the world. So I'm currently casting that second movie. The first one's already in editing. And so as we help these women rise and get shown up, it's very powerful. I'm also friends with multimillionaires and billionaires who want to help women have a space and have the ability to become investors in big projects, even in sports and things that women have been overlooked this for most of the time. So these are the positionings, these are the networks, these are the relationships, these are the things that I have put myself into, not for myself necessarily, but for my clients and the people in my world to help them rise up, which is my favorite thing to do. I'm only building my brand and rising up so I can help more people rise up. And that's why we do a lot of donations and volunteering for the homeless. We work with Champions for the Homeless. We also do donations at women and children's shelters. We love helping kids in foster care because those people don't always have a chance, and they can be incredibly creative and talented. They just need an opportunity. And so we're here to help provide those opportunities.
Well, I see the purpose behind the work that you do, and I think everybody that's going to watch this video will also see the purpose behind the work that you're doing, and that is what makes a difference between entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs. And I want to ask you as well, what do you think? What is a message that the reader is going to take away from reading Win Your Brand? What is the core message that you want them to take away?
Yeah, I want them to feel inspired and empowered because, and it doesn't matter if you're a male or a female. I want you to also look at the brands and the immersive experience side of things. So we actually use all the senses in each chapter. So I tell a story and then I spotlight a brand like Utz, which is a potato chip pretzel company in Pennsylvania that I grew up living in Baltimore, or the New York City luxury scene because I was a corporate event planner in New York City, or the US Navy because I was married to the US Navy. Like there's different brands I spotlight, and within them I use all the senses, like your sense of smell and taste and touch and all these senses. It seems so like easy, simple. Like why would you do that? Because you have to immerse yourself into a brand for it to be memorable. So how do you make yourself memorable? How do you walk when you walk in a room? How does that room transform? I am only 5 feet tall and I'm tiny. I'm like a size zero, okay? Very petite. My kids are way taller than me. And I have a 6'2" brother. I don't know how it happened, but my I walk into a room and it's people think I'm 6 feet tall. They meet me on these Zooms and podcasts and all these things, and they're like, wow, you are way shorter than I thought. Wow, I hear that all the time. I know. And the reality is, I come in and I have a bigger personality and I love on people and I give bear hugs. And I'm such a friendly, open, warm person. If someone is sitting there by themselves, I'm there and I go and talk to them because they're obviously introverted and I'm not. Now, there are situations where I can be introverted, but when I'm, in a room that's professional, I'm not, generally not. And that's because I know that a lot of people are. And so I open up that world to them. So in the book, When Your Brand, I want people to see themselves in me, which is why I put the memoirs in there and the brand spotlights. They might be able to relate to those as well. But each chapter has 3 coaching tips and 3 reflections and line pages afterwards. I want coffee, wine, multiple color Sharpie markers, like color pens, like mark that baby up. It's yours. Or get a second copy and mark that one up, whatever you want to do. But I want people to utilize it like a workbook in a sense, because I want them, and we are going to work on creating a workbook, just so you know, Shammy. I haven't told you yet, but we're doing that. The reality is that this should be something that it has you thinking, and it has you thinking, wow, you know what? She's been through all this. If she has, and I've been through this too, I can do this too. And then help them start thinking creatively of ideas or ways that they can start to build that brand and win that brand. And then my winning bonus is in the back of the book. Here's the book right here. We've got 2 hardbacks over here. I've got paperback over here. And when you're reading the badass bonus is what it's called. Sorry for the language, but I went from Lil Bamboo to Badass Bamboo, so it had to be done. So the Badass Bamboo has the winning framework, which is what you need to really wake your brand and do all the steps in pretty much in the order to be able to continue that brand. And then it becomes nostalgic because the brands that I talk about in the book, most of them are nostalgic. They've been around a very long time. And so how I want people to think, how can I make my brand like that? And so that's why it's very visual, very sensory and immersive.
Well, that's sorry, I got okay. Well, all of that gives us a huge, huge understanding of how the book is made, and I think it's a very interactive book. A lot of readers look for that. They don't look for just, information to read, and then most people forget. So having an interactive book, I see a lot of readers who come back and they're like, I love this because I'm able to write, I'm able to like put my thoughts down on paper. And like you said, imagine somebody coming up to you and showing you like, oh my God, look at all my notes. It's gonna make you so happy. And you've already talked about you're gonna have a workbook, and which is amazing. Can you tell us a little bit about that and also tell us what is next after this book, after the workbook? What are your plans that are coming up? Share with us a little bit about that before we close this amazing interview up.
Absolutely, thank you. And so the reason why I decided to do a workbook is because there's only so much space in the book, and obviously you can use a notebook and all that too. But I produce workshops and masterminds and events, so when I'm doing that, I want people to really be able to have like, here's examples of two workbooks that I produce that are available on Amazon. And so this is a course, my Paid to Vacation Retreat Revenue Masterclass that I created the Ultimate Retreat Workbook in. And in the workbook, it has so much information because it includes the handouts from the course itself, but then it also integrates a lot of other things. And so to have a workbook to go along with the book is helpful because people can learn from it, but then they can also have plenty of space to write in. And I even have coloring pages in this book too. It's just it's about being fun, but it's also to have something. A lot of people, especially when you have an autograph book, because a lot of people bought books autographed from me, they don't want to dirty up the book. And you'll notice I have two of certain books, like Think and Grow Rich and stuff like that, because I know the authors and I'm with them all the time. So a lot of times I'm getting multiple copies of the same book from celebrity authors because I'm with them all the time. And so I'll keep one autographed and then I might write in the other one or gift it to someone else. But it's good to have something that you can make more interactive and engaging because you don't want your book, especially if it's a teaching book type like this. You don't want it just to be something that they read and put back on a bookshelf and never look at again. So I want people to be helped by this book. That is the most important thing for me.
Thank you so much again for being here with us, for sharing your story with us, and for sharing all the amazing goodness that your book has for all the readers. Um, for everybody that's watching this video, Samara's book, Win Your Brand, is available on Amazon and you're able to get it on ebook, paperback, and hardback. And it's a reminder that all of our struggles do not disqualify us, they shape us. It is an inspiring guide for anyone ready to win their story, build something meaningful, and step in boldly into their next new chapter. Make sure you check out her book and support Samara on Amazon. And as always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow the book review for more exclusive author interviews, book features, and any literary conversation that we share. Thank you so much again for being here with us and for sharing your amazing story, Samara.
Thank you. And it's also at Barnes and Noble. You
That's
want to
also
do
Barnes
that
and
if you
Noble.
want to get book signings.
Of course, of course. I'll leave the links to the book, both
Mhm.
links down at the bottom in the description.
Perfect.
Okay?
Amazing. Thank you so much.